Hello everyone, myself Nitin Pawar, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Anjuman Islam Janjira Degree College of Science, Murur Janjira. I am going to give the presentation on my research paper, Post-COVID-19 Situations in Higher Education. So this is the abstract. The COVID-19 pandemic has set to change the globe previous we all know. The thinking of our government, establishments, organizations, and other people has drastically modified from several economic sectors. The higher education sector has undergone and a tectonic shift and it's undergoing. Unfold of pandemic COVID-19 has drastically affected aspects of human life together with education. It has created an example check on education in several instructional establishments around the world. Campuses are closed and teaching learning has affected online. Internationalization has caught up significantly. Despite of the challenges, the higher education establishments have reacted completely and managed to confirm the continuity of teaching learning, research and repair to the society with some tools and techniques throughout the pandemic. This text highlights on major impacts of COVID-19 on higher education institutes and the Republic of India. The COVID-19 pandemic has given different new methods of learning, new views and new trends are emerged. Then introduction, minimum for next 20 years, education and technology consultants predicting that technology can become the most important pathway of teaching learning processes. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, number of students across the world are driven out of their university areas and professors are also confined to their homes. COVID-19 infection was reported originally from urban center China in late December 2019 and quickly unfolded throughout the globe and was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization on 11th March 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic quickly a reason for the closure of universities and faculties around the world with government directions to follow social distancing that might facilitate to flatten the infection curve and scale back total fatalities from the malady. The foremost necessary pandemic precaution referred to as the social distancing or physical distancing has tried to scale back social contact and thereby minimize the sort of communicative transmission that might develop quickly in dense social networks, just like the university field. Then the revolution of digital technology for e-learning and virtual education. The impact of COVID-19 on teaching has been dramatically and has been transferred and a standard trend in education systems around the world has been to retort to the pandemic with emergency e-learning protocols, making the speedy transition from face-to-face categories to online learning systems. The tutorial establishments face a challenge to adapt to the current amendment and making an attempt to settle on the proper technologies and approaches for educating and fascinating their students. The field closure and unforeseen switch from person face-to-face education to remote directions is simply a baby step experiment within the long journey to giving online education that as well as effective student engagement tools and teacher coaching. This could pave for stronger bonds between universities, online education firms, and technology suppliers post-pandemic. The government can need to improve and plan to sustain programs for skill development to spice up educators' teaching capabilities. Counting on the and adapting to e-learning throughout a surge might cause a shift in adapting additional online parts. within the teaching by the educators. There is a massive digital inequality that exists in society. One cannot assume that each one students, in addition as educators, would have access to web property and associated powerful devices outside of their university to be ready to communicate. Affordability is another issue to limit the access to e-learning with students from economically weaker sections facing a larger burden. The impact of COVID-19, which is of accessibility and affordability, will have serious implications on students in teaching system unless student friendly government policies area unit in situ which might guarantee affordability and accessibility of the net to students. The scholars face major hurdles with the remote learning as face-to-face communication is additional contributing to the educational method, presenting a stronger chance to sharing information and posing for facilitate easier and additional interaction. Also, the flexibleness of asynchronous remote learning might offer wider access. And even inside teaching establishment, hybrid or merging forms might facilitate improved the standard of face-to-face teaching by moving content delivery online and focusing in-person sessions on active learning. The students who have less ability to self-regulate or study autonomously struggle with no teaching providing in-person support. The online videos, digital content, and discussion forums may not provide a holistic teaching learning outcome. The opportunities and challenges in research area and their implications. The COVID-19 pandemic forced educational activity establishments and universities to adapt to the speedily dynamic state of affairs during a means that was inconceivable a couple of months ago. Most of this has affected scientists, faculty, research students, and graduate students. The career arranges of the many research students and postdoctoral researchers are in danger due to this interruption in their research plan by the pandemic. The accomplishment of international workers and therefore the exchange of the expert researchers may be a large challenge which can still exist for the approaching months. The analysis establishments and universities have to be compelled to vigorously style and implement the analysis management parameters that adhere to social distancing protocols and guarantee low student density on campuses, whereas steering the analysis activity towards normalcy. The research areas that need physical laboratories might have to rethink their operating models and thoroughly arrange and order their experiments. The colleges and schools can need to invest a lot of in health and safety measures and infrastructure on their campuses to confirm the security of scholars and workers, which can augment the monetary strain on the university. A number of the key areas of analysis which can see a surge in funding post-pandemic embrace immunogene development, antiviral therapies, development of healthcare instrumentality, health devices, remote learning tools, computing primarily based technologies, use of AR, VR, and optics for coaching and capability building, and public health policy. Also, a research areas that don't need the physical presence of the man of the science might even see a lot of growth as the students might like these programs to reinforce their skills for post-study job placements. Then the conclusion, the new total technology mediated education will be termed as the education 4. Once the three wheels of the education system that evolved over 2000 years of the civilization. The very first is the Gurukul system, one master to few pupils. The normal university system, one teacher to several learners, and the distance learning, one to terribly many learners across the spectrum. The post-pandemic academic establishments might have to spot the problems that they will pace and prepare to require powerful selections within the returning months. The university communities can have to be compelled to replicate on their academic vision and mission to confirm student learning outcomes and standards of education quality don't seem to be compromised. The colleges need to have interaction and consult all their stakeholders within the advanced leveling of economic crisis and public health that are tangled with missions of education, data creation, and repair of the society. The higher academic establishment should be prepared for a troublesome road ahead post-pandemic wherever their selections can form and steer the long run of their students. Then these are the references I have used for my research work. Then thank you. Thank you so much.